So this trim piece, originally this just would have set right on top of this panel, flush the glass, and then this is also flush, so it gives you a lot more seamless look.
Hey, what's up everybody? Cody with Detroit Speed here. We're back with another project update vlog. I know it's been a little while, but we've got a lot of cool updates that have been going on here at the shop, so let's go ahead and get you updated. All right, Matt, let's talk about Randy's K5. Obviously, the first thing is we have a new top. So is this is a brand new top, correct?
Yep. It's a new reproduction top. As far as I know, they just started making them. They were on display at SEMA. Went ahead and we placed the order for this thing, I think back in January. Just got it last week or so. Just quick threw it up there. We got some 2x4s kind of holding it up off the windshield frame. We know in the past this truck was probably wrecked at some point or laid over on its side. So you have to get some measurements off of a nice original Blazer, verify the windshield frame location, and then we'll start fitting the rest of the top. So, first impression, looks like a really nice piece. Pretty straight, definitely lighter than the original top. It is a reproduction single wall, which is the more sought after version. So another cool feature is they option this with flush mount glass. It'll be flush mount glass, glue in windows in the sides and the hatch.
Oh, nice. What's the company that makes this?
I believe it's Adept is the name of it.
Wow, that's really cool.
And so people probably notice this thing's over in the body shop right now. The truck is still actually in fab, but we needed to make some room, knock out a few quickie projects over there, so we just moved it for the time being. The other big thing is obviously it is on its suspension at this point. We just made it a roller. Truck's sitting about 2 inches high right now. It doesn't have any weight on the springs, obviously. It's got an off-road designs. They're a long travel leaf pack. I think it's a 10 leaf, basically like a progressive pack. So we were shooting for roughly 2 to 3 inches of lift over factory. Randy didn't want it real tall, so. And then we'll probably tune in the shackles a little bit. We put a longer shackle in it for now, but when we get farther along, we'll actually cycle the suspension, see how it droops out, and check our shock travels and everything like that. So last couple of weeks, Bruce was busy, got our seats all mounted, completed. We wired them up and powered them. So the cool thing is, just a positive and negative wire. We'll do most of the functions in this seat. It's got full power adjustment. They're cooled up and down, recline front to back.
Because these are out of a ZL1.
ZL1 1LE Camaro, yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll have probably 90% of the functions that they would have had in the Camaro. Kind of a toss up on the seat heater, whether or not we'll need a controller or swap in an aftermarket seat heater. But so those are all final mounted. The console main body is mounted, and then you can see down here the actual transition pieces that Bruce started to build that basically blend that OEM console into the Blazer floor.
And that console's out of a F-150?
Yep. Yeah, that'll be like roughly a 15 or 16 model F-150. Nice. Had good shape and style to it. It's got rear air, so we'll actually duct the vintage air through it so that the rear passengers will have also air.
Oh, nice.
Power inverter hookup, USBs, basically anymore you can't put enough power and USBs in vehicles. Everybody's got phones, tablets, right. GPS, so yeah. We can look at the other side too, yeah. Same thing. So same thing, just a sheet metal closeout that kind of matches the factory transition of the console. It had a little step there.
Right.
And then just kind of integrated the transfer case shifter. Next step will be probably some rough sketches and then come in with template paper, tape, and work on what kind of transition we'll do to the dash here. It's going to get a little bit more of a sloped transition that comes back to the console. That way you don't have that 90-degree surface change there. Do something that flows a little bit better. Big step to see it sitting on the suspension, like I said, so yeah. That's always exciting. Once we get closer to being full weight and once it's actually ready for the body shop, we'll really final dial in the ride height. Like I said, we'll mess with the shackles a little bit more. It's coilovers in the front, so we've got 0 to 3 inches of lift to play with in the coilover, and then if we decide it's not tall enough, we may always do a lift spindle in it. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Once we get to the end, we'll really have to fine tune it and see what we like, what Randy likes, and then just go from there.
All right, so here's one we haven't talked about in a while. This is Andy's 1967 Camaro. It's up on rotisserie and it's ready to be sandblasted. But what have we been doing the past couple weeks on this one?
Yeah, so last you guys would have seen it. This thing was basically built up to a roller in fab. This was the LT4 6-speed car that was over there. Got most of the major fab work done. Got a rotisserie in here. Got it fixtured up this week. So the car will go out, be sandblasted. We'll get it back, put it in a black sealer. We'll put the car back together, basically check over all of our fab lists. And then when it's back on the wheels and tires, it can start being body worked here in the body shop.
All right, so Jeff's 65 Riviera has had some really cool updates in the past couple of days. Matt, go ahead and tell us what's been going on here.
Actually, we've been really busy on this car. It's getting down to the fun stuff, as far as assembly. So Jason and Josh have been digging on it. Last couple of days, real big accomplishments where the whole car has been powered up. All the brakes and everything are bled, as well as the J-Ride, the ride height coilovers. So they bled that full system, and actually yesterday had it fired up, and we're actually able to raise and lower the car using the adjustable ride height. So pretty cool. I think it gets you roughly 3 inches that you can raise or lower it. So a lot of detail stuff, a lot of interior stuff going together still, painted interior panels, wood grain panels, stuff like that.
So is this one, will you be able to actually pick your height, or is it just up or down? Could you set it in the middle somewhere if you
Yeah,
wanted
within
to?
reason, I think you can set it in the middle. There's some type of adjustable proportioning valve that allows you to do that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
typically what you're going to want to do is, wherever you show up to,
Right.
dump it all the way out, so it looks good. And then
Right.
obviously for driving on the street, raising it up to the highest position possible.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only roughly 3 inches of travel that it nets you. So
Is the front and rear independent from each other, or is it just one switch? And the whole
currently it's
car
one
is-
switch. We
Okay.
kind of talked about maybe making it independent. Again, for what you're going to do with the car, more than likely that will be sufficient. So
Right. So they've got the classic instrument gauges are mocked up in there. Josh has been going through just kind of getting a lot of stuff fitted while Jason's been sitting pretty much in the driver's seat on this thing for the past week and a half, 2 weeks now.
yeah. The wiring, it's you're in the same place doing a lot of work, but
Yeah.
unless you know what's going on, it's hard to see what progress looks like. But like I said, with everything having been powered, kind of cool talking about the adjustable ride height and everything. So these are some of the factory Riviera sliders, and so they've been repurposed. One of these does the ride height, and then one of them, I don't remember which one, but one of them also does the exhaust cutouts.
Oh, yeah.
So we repurposed a lot of the factory switches in the dash, so it'll still look all original, but obviously a lot more features than what they had in 1965.
Yeah, and in case you're new to the Detroit Speed channel here, so this car actually has cutouts, so you'll be able to open and close the exhaust. So you can go from straight pipes, which will come out, this grill on the side, or if you were looking for more of a quieter cruising sound, you can exit out the back through the mufflers. So I think that's pretty cool, especially incorporating the factory slider on there.
Yep.
And you can kind of dial it in if you want like a mixture sound too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's basically infinitely adjustable in the range. So yeah, we've had the stereo all fired up. It actually sounds really, really good. Got like a 5.5 inch component speaker in the kick panel, 6x9s with fabricated buckets in the package tray, and then I believe that's an 8-inch sub right there in the center.
I take it this is the ride height.
Yep. So that's the pump. So it's basically a hydraulic pump. It's all plumbed in stainless hard lines, and it's got a solenoid controller that actually is what raises and lowers it. So got the bumper on, taillights and everything fitted, the rear trim piece below the back window. So really, overall starting to look like something.
Yeah, this is such a cool car. And it's just all the cool little, I guess, gadgets that come
Yeah.
along with it just
Yeah.
make this car so much cooler.
It's a lot of really small details.
Yeah.
One that a lot of people, if you're not familiar with Rivieras, so this trim piece, originally this just would have set right on top of this panel.
Oh, we actually kind of
Yeah,
flush mounted
we
it.
flushed it, flushed the glass, and then this is also flushed, so
Oh,
gives
that's
you a
cool.
lot more seamless look. So next big steps are, we're talking about in the next week or two, we'll get the windows final adjusted, and then once all that's complete, the door skins can actually go on start aligning the skins because they bolt on, and finalize that. And from there, you just have to work forward, get all done here, and then we'll start mocking up fenders. The fenders will be kind of an on-off ordeal because you got to dial in all your wire lengths, hose lengths. So a little bit of back and forth there, but again, all good forward progress currently. And since we're over here on the assembly side, a couple of completed cars that are back. People have seen Mo's Chevelle before. So it came back, basic service stuff, put a fresh set of tires on it, and then we're gonna make a few tweaks to the engine. The car made 986 at the tire was the best dyno pull we ever did. So we're gonna change a few things and see if we can't hit that 1,000 number at the tire. So a couple weeks, month, we'll get it down to the dyno and probably have some video of that too. That'd be a good one to check out.
Yeah.
We got Kyle's 56 Chevy. We finished this thing, I don't know, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. So another one, it just came back. Basic maintenance list. It's got some miles on it now, so nut and bolt check the chassis, change the oil, check the rest of the fluids, just, pretty basic stuff. So real quick, basically a week or two in and out.
All right, so this chassis has been here for how long now? A couple months?
Yeah, no, not even. We probably didn't get started on it until mid-January, so basically a month on it. Kind of been a little bit held up on like laser press bent parts, A lot of that stuff's taking a long time to get right now.
So what is this for?
This is
Who's it for?
This is for a 67 to 72 C10. It's basically a fully one-off chassis that we're doing for a gentleman, Rod Parsons. So
I'll say everything that we've done here is custom, right? Like none of this is, we didn't take like a factory frame and then modify it.
Yeah, so we basically started with some scans, some factory C10 scans, and then also a factory frame to do some measurements. So this was all designed in-house by our engineers. Started with, we spec'd out the rails, the profiles we wanted. So these are all mandrel bent rails. So pretty cool one piece front to rear. There's no welding or splicing of pieces. A lot of people will, they'll do this out of laser plate, weld the corners or something like that, but this is a full mandrel bent rail. And then we designed it around our 595 universal front suspension. And then the rear is all just scratch design, 4-link, quad-link using our traditional stuff. They do plan to race the truck, autocross and road course. So everything we did here, pretty adjustable. You got multiple locations for your lower links on the chassis side.
Nice.
And the axle side. Same goes for the upper link. Track bar adjustable as well, up and down. Right here we did these additional stiffeners. So the C10 chassis from the factory is a 6-inch height underneath the cab. And we didn't want to cut into the mandrel bent rail. We wanted to keep it all together. Some people have done a 6-inch piece and then you step back down to the 4-inch, Z it and weld it together. Instead, we did this lasered press bent, basically brace that sets in and gives you back the 6-inch height under the cab, which helps with your body mounts and gives you a little bit more structure. 595 front frame. Basically, if you buy this off the website, you get this section right here. Allows you to weld it into any chassis within reason. So, we utilize this a lot here in the project shop, especially if we're doing a vehicle that we don't necessarily have an off-the-shelf kit for. Other than that, we're really close on it. Finalizing the 4-link, we'll get the housing welded up, and we'd like to be having this wrapped up right here at the end of the month. So,
nice.
Basically, this is just chassis only. We're finishing this, and then it'll get shipped off, and they'll finish building the truck. So.
And of course we have the Daytona. Now the big thing on this one is Mark just recently got the radiator put in there and he's got the spa fans mounted up. And he's been working on some plumbing stuff, correct? Or like tanks, reservoirs?
Yeah, a lot of plumbing and packaging has been happening. Everybody probably saw, the inner fender structures basically get finished. Like you said, moved on to the radiator. It's all final mounted. Decided to fabricate upper and lower radiator hoses. Did that to give ourselves a little bit more room. Typically if you did a rubber hose, they would more than likely just kind of sweep on the same plane. Mm-hmm. But long-term plans, the intake elbow will turn and it will actually build an air box somewhere in here. So want this route, help with packaging down the road. More plumbing stuff. This first tank here, This is the expansion tank, coolant tank for the radiator for the cooling system. We'll feed the radiator from down here. It's got a sight glass, a low sight glass, and a high sight glass. Obviously, radiator cap is right here. And then back behind this tank will be your charge cooler, your supercharger, intercooler reservoir. Basically kind of integrated into each other just to keep a nice consistent look front to back. It'll feed out the side to the manifold here, and then out the bottom it will go to the actual radiator in the front. So, or I guess technically it will feed the pump in the front, and then it'll circulate through the cooler itself. But on this side you can actually see where the pump is mounted down inside the inner fender here. So there's where the actual pump ended up. So yeah, supercharged cars end up with a lot more plumbing.
Yeah.
You've basically got 2 cooling systems, and then in addition to that, it will get a power steering cooler and an oil cooler. A lot of stuff going on. You can see more of the tin work that got finished out since the last update. So, just more closeouts in the top. A lot of cars we will build some type of shroud in the inner fender just to help protect wiring and hoses that go over the top. So long-term AC lines and heater core lines will get run over top of this, and then they're protected from road debris, stuff like that. Another closeout panel. A lot of this stuff has to be accessible for service and things like that. That'll actually get bolted up in there. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening.
Right, and last but not least, let's talk about Simon Chevelle.
So on this one, kind of sucks everybody missed it, but we had wheels and tires mocked up on it again at ride height. So we went through, dialed in all of our wheel specs, tire specs, placed the order with Forge Line. So hopefully, a couple months, 3-4 months, we'll have the real set of wheels and tires here. Actually get this thing sitting on the suspension. And then beyond that, Paul's been doing the plumbing, fuel line plumbing, brake line plumbing, and stuff like that. Got the whole core support finished up. Core support closeout, radiator cover. So another thing that's happened in the last couple of weeks, people probably saw, you posted to Instagram, I believe. Seats got mounted. It's a Cobra Le Mans seat. Got the mounts, tracks, and everything done. The back seat frame is fitted as well. Pretty minor work to accommodate the wheel tubs and some of the raised structure where we raised the tunnel and everything like that. So, a lot of interior fitment stuff kind of getting wrapped up. The next big one on the list is audio components will be ordered this week. So we'll go ahead and check our front and rear speaker fitment, and then we'll start building speaker box, amplifier mounts, and things of that nature.
Unless he's got the fuel pump access panel in there too.
Yep, that's another one that happened here recently. So yeah, pop that out, get the fuel pump without dropping the fuel tank. Proves to be very valuable on a lot of these cars, and then just hot rods and performance cars in general.
Yeah.
A fuel pump or fuel level sender or anything of that nature, they never fail when the tank is empty, ever. So that right there just saves a lot of trouble in the long run. So it's just one more that's moving right along. One other thing that happened is a lot of these cars, panel fitment in the 60s and 70s was not very nice. So right here, the quarter panels were actually higher than the trunk seam by a little over 1/8 of an inch. So actually welded an extra piece of metal in here, grounded back flush, so that way you get a nice consistent line all the way across. And then from there the bumper will go on, and we'll not going to go too crazy on it, but it will get tucked a little bit.
Yeah.
Shave the fasteners and everything like that.
All right, so that's that for this month's project update vlog. Thanks again to my man Matt for helping me out, walking through, showing us everything that's been going on this month. If you have any questions about anything, hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. So we'll see you on the next one.